What's up, guys? Welcome to Inside the H. I'm one half of the Inside the H pod. My name is Kush. You guys can find me on Twitter at Christopher Paul, Kushterpaul. Ike, where can they find you, bro?
They can find me on Twitter at Ike Cuellar. That's IKECUELLAR.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Inside the H podcast. We're on episode 10, 10th episode. Ike, how you doing, man? How's it going?
Doing good, man. Just you know, watching the rest of these NFL games tonight. Got the Cowboys and Colts coming up, and just ready to end this week with these football games.
Yeah, so let's get into the best team in town first this week. Talk about the Astros. They made a signing this week from the White Sox. We got Jose Abreu, first base. Think it was like 3 years, 60 million, somewhere around that number. Um, and I think the first thing that I kind of questioned when we signed him was what's going to happen with Yuli Gurriel. I feel like they can still use him as a utility guy, even with Abreu at first base. But I mean, when you look at the big picture, it just makes us even better than we were last year. Um, what are your thoughts on it? Because I think and then now after this Abreu signing, there there are little rumblings about Cody Bellinger, Andrew Benintendi, guys like that possibly being signed by us. So I think, in my opinion, like when you win like we have, um, all these guys like now they want to come to the Astros to win, right? I think our franchise is at that stage of winning now where we've shown that we won a couple championships, right? And now guys want to come play with us. So I think I think if you look at it that way, that it's a positive. I want to know your thoughts on Jose Abreu and how he fits here.
I mean, I think he fits perfect with us, man. I think it's a great signing. To add a hitter like that to our lineup is just remarkable because the guy is a 300 hitter when he's at his best. And even when he's not, he's above an average player, you know, above an average hitter when he's not at his best. So, and if you look at our lineup from the guys that we're going to bring back next year, we're going to be right there back in it. And just a great signing for the Astros to just reload and have the bats there because you know how we still have our pitchers, man. Our pitchers are going to be there. Even if we lose Verlander, we still have a solid lineup all through the bullpen. And I'm just excited because the runs are just going to keep coming in with Jose Abreu. And, we got him for 3 years. I believe it was 58 million or something like that. And just a remarkable job by the Astros to get this deal done and sign him.
Yeah, former MVP in 2020, even though it was like a shortened season. But I mean, and this is a guy that he's probably gonna hit six for you, which is crazy. Like when you talk about former MVP, like we know he can hit um batting six for you, so it just makes us even better than we were. Another big topic to talk about in our division is DeGrom to the Rangers, 5 years, 185 million. I mean, I don't really see him going to the Rangers to be honest, but I think all the other teams in our division are getting better. Also, the Mariners trade for Colton Wong from the Brewers, and so I think all these other teams are getting better, but I think with the Abreu signing, we also showed that we are also getting better. So I think for like early prediction for the division, I think obviously depending on what happens the rest of the offseason. Like right now, it's still looking like we're at the top, but you know, I know we like to worry about, the Mariners making moves and trying to catch us in the division. Now the Rangers are starting to do that. The Rangers are starting to spend a lot of money, and but I think the Astros still are top dogs in the division like so far. But I mean, I think it's interesting the moves that are being made in the AL West because everybody's trying to get better and trying to catch us. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And it's funny to see these teams, spend all this money because they know exactly what they're going up against, and that's the Houston Astros. And to beat us, it's going to take a lot. So it doesn't surprise me. I just think it's a little bit of overspending, in areas where you can kind of not, pay that much of money, or you can bring in some other prospects that you can get for cheap. But, for them, they got to do what they got to do because they know the type of team that the Houston Astros are, and they're going to have to be a complete team to beat us. So it does not surprise me one bit, the money spending and all the moves being made in our division, because clearly those teams do not like us at all. So they're going to do everything in their power to try to knock us off or at least win the division.
Yeah, and I know we all like to make fun of the Rangers and stuff, but I mean, the past couple of years they've been spending a shit ton of money. Guys like Marcus Semien, Corey Seager last year, this year DeGrom, obviously, and then they have one of my favorite pitchers when he was in college a few years ago, Kumar Rocker. He's in the minors right now with the Rangers, so I mean, I don't think he's gonna see the big leagues for a few years, but I think to me that part of it is interesting because they have they've have really good talent, and they're gonna get really good talent because they've been losing a lot of games. So I would say it's not exactly how we built our team with the Astros, like in the mid 2010s, how we just tanked and got draft picks and just got lucky. But I guess they're doing it a different way, which that's what I love about sports, right? Like there's multiple ways to build a team, multiple ways to win. So I guess they're going to dish out a shit ton of money on these contracts to these guys and see where it goes. Obviously, I mean I don't think they're gonna like just be a contender right away, but I mean I think it's gonna be interesting to watch them. However, I think we're still gonna beat the shit out of them this year, at least for
Oh
this year.
yeah, that's
And
facts.
then the Mariners, like, don't get me wrong, I fucking hate the Mariners, but like they've they're showing that they really want to be a contender and beat us. And I think Colton Wong makes them a little bit better. Um, that's another team that like in a few years is gonna be good. Well, I mean, they're good now, but I think they're gonna be really good in a few years. And so I think it's like as the top team in the division, I think it's fun watching these other teams, like, spend and sign and trade and all that stuff to try to get to our level. Like as a fan, I think that's pretty cool to watch during the off season.
Yeah, man. I mean, you love the competition. You want to go against the best whenever a team is at full strength and has everybody healthy, because you don't want no excuses at the end, man. Like, if we got the dub, we got the dub, and we're not trying to hear none of that shit at the end. And also, I think it's funny how the Rangers on social media are just putting out, everything. Because to be honest, we have the best social media admin in the league, and that's by far. I mean, it's not even close. But I think it's cute how they're trying to imitate us and putting all those posts out and the signings. Like, man, we don't give a damn about none of that. You still got to see us several times a year, and just know that y'all gonna be in some pain when y'all face us, man. So I just think it's cute, but it's at the same time it's fun, man. You know, it's entertaining because you know that they're not gonna beat us.
Yeah, the fan interactions with like the social media accounts is like that's always a fun thing. And it's one of those things like you said that the Astros admin is like in my opinion the best in the league.
By
Um
far, yeah.
I remember like a couple weeks ago after we won the World Series, the Phillies made a little post about you know, like a trip down memory lane kind of post, and the Astros just quote tweeted and just roasted him, and it was like that's the shit I love about Twitter, man. Like
It's
it's
perfect. It was perfect. It just killed them, bro. Like,
yeah, and it is one of those things where like they're supposed to be a professional account, but I think it's awesome when like the person that's running it is just like you have to remember they're fans too, right? So I think that's
facts.
that's the fun part about it.
Yeah,
And
man. It's
the
all
Phillies thing was hilarious, bro. Like that's
yeah.
so funny.
It's just talking shit. Like, you need to go back and forth, and you can't. Your feelings right here don't matter, bro. It's just we're talking shit, and we got the bragging rights right now, and they're gonna have to eat all that shit because they can't say nothing.
And all the Phillies fans were getting mad. I'm like, bro, like I thought y'all were supposed to be like a tough fan base in a tough city, man. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I just kind of lost a little bit of respect for Phillies fans on that regard, man.
yeah, man. Philly's supposed to be tough and everything. I know their other two teams are, as far as the fan base goes, they're pretty tough. They hold the 76ers accountable, and the Philadelphia Eagles. They're having a great year. They hold them accountable. But on the baseball side, man, it was kind of disappointing, man, just to see that.
Yeah, and I think another thing about the Phillies is that's a team that spent a lot of money, right? And so they kind of squeaked in the playoffs, you know. They got on a little roll, got to the World Series. So I feel like if I'm a Texas Rangers fan, your like highest hope is that that can happen for you too. But I mean, you still got to win games in the regular season, and in my opinion, like the whole like getting in and going on a run thing, like it's cool, but it that is also as hard to do as what we've done is win like 100 plus games every season, um, and be the top seed and dominate your way to the World Series. And I still feel like home field is very, very important in the playoffs.
Oh
So
yeah.
like and like now with the wild card round they added this past year, I think that kind of changes the game for these teams like the Mariners and the Rangers and all that stuff because they can you don't really have to win your division. Obviously, you still have to win a lot of games, but you can kind of squeak in and then see what happens. It's like the NFL playoffs, right? Like you just grind through the season. Hopefully you get in and then you can see what happens. And I feel like that is going to I think that's the way that baseball is gonna go the next year and the following years as far as the playoffs go. So I think it's interesting that the Rangers spent like this, and obviously we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, I think Jose Abreu, former MVP in 2020, um, we know he can hit. Um, we'll see what happens at center field. Do we keep Chaz? I think he's your starting center fielder next year, obviously depending on what happens in the offseason. But and then the other glaring question mark is Justin Verlander, which I'm like at this point I'm like 85% sure he's not coming back. I actually he might go to the Dodgers. Sorry, Astros fans, but I think that's what's going to end up happening. And um, even if that happens, I think we're still the team to beat in the AL. I don't see anybody remotely close to us. until somebody shows that they can beat us. I'm still riding with the Astros next year.
Yeah, man. If he goes to the Dodgers, man, you know, that's fine. Like we're grateful for everything that he did here in Houston. Uh, he played it out. He won, a couple World Series, and we're just grateful for everything that he did. But we're still going to be up there at the end of the day, and they're going to have to deal with this. And I want to add this about the playoffs. How you said that they added the wild card there. I think that is awesome for the game because if you get hot at the right moment, you can carry that momentum, and you get hot at the right time. Who knows what can happen? But you're still going to end up in this 3 game, 5 game, 7 game series, and ultimately the best team wins there. So I like that aspect in baseball because it's giving those teams a chance to make it in, but just know that you're still going to be in these long series to prove that you're the better team that you're playing against. So I really like that. And I just think that they're still going to have to come through us in Houston, if we face the Dodgers, if we're blessed enough to make it to another World Series when we face the Dodgers, that would be, awesome to see to go against Verlander. But that's a lot of things that have to happen. Uh, but I'm just excited already for the next season, man. Like I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun next year. It's gonna be fun. With that, let's move on to the Rockets. Um, I still can't believe we beat the Suns the other night, man. What a game that was. Uh, I think Jalen Green, obviously, he's playing better and better. I think he dropped like 30 points or something like that that game.
Yeah, hit a 30
And
burger.
yeah, and and I like what I'm seeing from Jabari Smith Jr. because I remember people, me included, were before the draft, people were like, well, he's a work in progress in the fact that he is not able yet to create his own shot, like off the dribble. But lately, he's been taking guys off the dribble, and finishing at the rim, which I think that was one of the knocks on him coming out in the draft. And I think he's been showing that the last couple games.
Yeah, man, that game was so fun to watch as a Rocket fan to beat the number one team in the West, the Suns. I know they were shorthanded that night. They didn't have CP3, but still, just to win that game was spectacular, man. It was a total team effort. Jalen Green was him once again. He took the challenge of guarding Devin Booker, and he was scoring the ball. So he was doing it all that game, and it just showed a lot of maturity from him. He's just getting better and better, and he's just showing, he can be that guy and the leader of this team. As for Jabari Smith, man, him too, he's also getting better. I think it's just showing on the offensive end where he's becoming more aggressive, and especially down there when we have a small lineup and he's the big down there. He's just taken over the game, in terms of rebounds, blocks, assist, and he's also when he's coming down court, he's not afraid to stop at the 3 point line and just let it rip, man. Like he's a sniper when it comes to that. He's not afraid. And when he's making the three like that, it's just scary because it's going to have the defense at his mercy, man. And I just want to see him grow more of not only creating his shot, but just being more involved in the offense and being more physical. And he's shown that, especially, when we go back to the Atlanta game where the shit talking started. And that's where, they kind of poked the bear and he woke up and just was being like more dominant down there in the paint. So I'm really looking forward to more of that. And just that was just the best win so far this year for the Rockets.
Yeah, I think, like you said, that Atlanta game, I think that really start um started that gear going, that second gear, and they've been playing better since then. Um, and I just, you know, Sengun is still a work in progress, obviously, against the Nuggets, and but I think that's just one of those things that's gonna work itself out as the season goes along. And I know Rockets Twitter likes to react to every little thing, as we know, but I think hopefully he can start getting on the court more, start making some plays more. Maybe hopefully they'll start running the offense through him a little more. Um, so I'll ask you this week because we've had our criticisms about Steven Silas, right? So I guess with the string of games this past week, what grade would you give Silas as a coach for the past week? How he's handled the offense and everything.
Um, I would give him a C plus. And the only reason why I say C plus is because we beat the Suns. Other than that, the other games we lost. And then, as far as from an effort standpoint, it hasn't been there, man. Like defensively, we're getting down real early in the game, and it's really hard to come back from that, especially against these teams that we're playing lately. I mean, we played the Nuggets back to back, their playoff team. We played the Suns. We played the Warriors. Like, if you do that real early in the game, it's going to be really hard for you to come back and try to win that game because all that energy you're going to spend coming back, these guys are still going to be scoring, man. Steph Curry's going to be hitting threes. You know, the Warriors have all these great players. Jordan Poole was still scoring for the Nuggets. Jokic is not going to stop scoring. So it don't matter who you're playing, bro. Like if when you get down early like that, it's going to be really tough, especially when you're not a defensive minded team, because these guys, for a lot of times in the game, it looks like a layup drill there. Like we're just giving up layups and dunks, not even contesting open 3-point shots, man. And even our perimeter defense looks really bad. So I think we have to work on that a lot, whether it's, double teaming guys up there in the perimeter, coming back, even showing a press, bro. Like you got to do something. Now I get it why these teams try to run some of these presses full court because it just gets these teams out of focus. It makes you think about stuff more on offense, makes you use more time. Now, when you're trying to get in your set and your play, you got less time to create, to find an open shot, to run your play. So I just feel like we have to find a way to get better in our perimeter defense because a lot of people like to criticize Sengun and his defensive, things that he can't do. But a lot of the times it comes down to the perimeter defense that's just allowing their man to do anything. So it puts more pressure on Sengun. And now he's playing 1-on-2. They're driving in. And I'm sure people can go back and forth on that, where they say it's his fault, not the guys in the perimeter. But Sengun arguably is our best player on the team. It's him and Jalen when it comes to offense. I mean, you can look at the numbers and you need to have him on the floor as much as possible. If he has problems on defense, hey, we'll figure it out. But this guy can put the ball in the hole, and you need to have him out there. So it's just important to just be better on defense, communicate, don't overly help because that's going to put you, behind the 8 ball right away and just try to figure it out, man. It's going to be a long season. We're not even halfway there yet, man. And we're already, getting trashed by a lot of these teams, man. But I just feel like defense is the key. And That's what we need to improve. But that's why I give Coach Silas a C plus.
Yeah, and so let's look forward to this next week. So I'm looking at the schedule for next week. Tomorrow we have James Harden, the Sixers coming to town. Thursday, the Spurs, winnable game, I think. I think. Then we have the Bucks on Sunday. So best case scenario, I think that's 1-2. Hopefully we can beat the Spurs. Harden coming back, that's always like a big game. So I mean, I know the fans will get, the fans will get up for that game. Um, I feel like the players on this current team, the only player that really played with Harden was Eric Gordon, right? And so,
Facts.
I mean, I don't think I don't think they'll get up for this game as much as they did like for the Warriors maybe or for like who else? Probably not for the Hawks either. That the second half after the Trae Young thing. But I mean, we'll see how they play and uh I mean, it doesn't look good because I think Embiid is gonna freaking dominate whoever we put on him. Hopefully Harden doesn't go off on us. Um, and then the Bucks, obviously, we have Giannis coming to town. So I mean, two good teams. We'll see how they look against those two guys. But hopefully they can go 1-2. What like for you? What's the best case scenario this upcoming week?
Best case scenario is just for us to be in these games, even if that's in the second half. Like I'll be good with it, man. I think it's gonna be tough with these opponents, and James Harden. This is gonna be his first game back from injury, and of course it's against the Rockets, right? Of course, that's when he comes back to Houston, when he's gonna have most of the crowd on his side, and I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of fans cheering for him. I will say this: I will not be cheering for him to get 40 points or to do well against us. Just throwing that out there. I still am a Rockets fan. I want the Rockets to win, but I believe we're the only team that he hasn't scored 40 on. There's only a few other teams I believe, but he's probably going to try to do that unless he's just trying to ease himself back into the game. And I'm grateful for everything that he did. Or while he was here in Houston, he was a top scorer every single year. You got to give him that. He was an MVP. We were in a lot of playoffs because of him. But I'm not going to be cheering for him, bro, because we're playing against him, and we need to try to do our best to lock him down at all costs. Like when you're on the other team, it's still like fuck all that. We're trying to win. So I'm happy that he's coming back home to a second home here in Houston, and he's gonna have a lot of family and friends here. But we're still trying to get the dub. And as far as the next game, San Antonio game, they've lost something stupid, bro. Like so many games in a row where they're clearly tanking. I feel like we'll have a great chance to win that game. That game's going to be at San Antonio, so we'll see how that goes. But they're trying to get Wemby too. They made that clear from the beginning of the season when they traded Murray and got all those picks in return. So we'll have a chance to win that game for sure. And then we have the Bucks on Sunday, which that can get really ugly really fast, like it did the other time we played them. So I just want us to compete in these games, be close, even if it's in the second half. Play defense, don't get in the hole real early in the game, and just develop these guys. That's the goal that we have, and just continue to do that. And defense, defense, defense. I cannot stress that enough because these guys, it looks like a layup drill out there, man. And it's just pathetic to watch sometimes, as a fan, because I get so hyped for the games. I mean, you know how I am, Kush, about my Rockets. And when I see these games, it's just, they're painful to watch, man. But you know, I'm a ride and die, and I'm always gonna watch them. So I just hope that we can compete in these games from a defensive standpoint, man. And I think we can, but you know, the Bucks game, that's the one that I'm afraid for because we got trashed last time we played them, and I just hope we can at least keep it close, you know.
Yeah, and to end the stuff on the Rockets, just for reference, um, the Spurs just lost their 11th game in a row tonight, so
Yeah, facts. That's what I.
we'll
Yeah,
see,
that's what I
we'll
meant.
see what happens with that. And we talked about homecomings and guys coming home. Speaking of that, Deshaun Watson made his return to Houston today, earlier this afternoon. I don't know if you saw like the pictures pregame, like of the stadium and who all was there. There was not that many people there, and I heard I heard they pumped in like artificial booze. I saw
Oh
that and I was
wow.
like, just like, bro. And like we talked about it off the show earlier, like we are thinking about going to the game, but I'm glad I didn't because it was bad. Um, Kyle Allen did not play well at all. Play calling was not good all game. Um, Deshaun Watson didn't really even play that good either. And I feel like they had a lot of opportunities to take the lead and possibly win the game. But I mean, this is a team that's 1-9-1 or now 1-10-1. Um, we all know like teams like this, they find ways to lose games and they turn the ball over. They couldn't get anything going on offense. Um, it was just bad, a bad overall game. Like I was watching the game and I was just like, just end the season already. Like I can't watch this shit anymore. Like as a fan, you're kind of in that mode where you're apathetic towards the season now. Like it doesn't really matter. And I know last week or a couple weeks ago, we talked about the quarterback change, right? Mills to Allen. And I kind of had like I thought maybe they would go back to Mills in the second half because Kyle Allen was that bad today. Um, and I'm of the thought process that like once you make a quarterback change, like you have to ride with the guy that you changed it to, because then you're kind of like if you keep going back and forth, you're 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 gonna eventually lose the locker room. Like your player's gonna question the coach. And I think at this point in the season, we're like so far beyond that point anyway. But yeah, I think they're going to stick with Kyle Allen the rest of the way. Obviously, unless he gets injured or something. But yeah, that those are my thoughts on that. But and yeah, Watson, like I know a lot of people said that we didn't know which Watson we would get, right? For the Browns. Because he hasn't played in like 700 days. He hasn't played in like 2 years. Even while he was suspended, he couldn't practice with the team. So obviously he's still trying to learn his receivers and his playbook and all that stuff. There are a lot of throws he just threw into the dirt, and I was like, damn, he doesn't look that good at all. And so that's why I'm saying like this is a winnable game. Uh, but obviously we lost. Did you watch the game or did you like hear anything about the game?
Yes, I did. It was actually I was impressed a little bit by the defense to start out the game because Watson was not moving the ball to begin with. And, you know, Jalen Petrie, I just want to give him a shout out, man. He was a dog today. He got an interception. He was making big hits. Like, bro came out ready to play. And so did the defense, man. So, you know, they got a safety on them too. They tackled Chubb before he can cross the goal line. And that's not an easy thing to do. Chubb is a big dude, big running back that when you tackle him, You need a collective team effort to bring that guy down. So we started out the game 5-0. Defense making plays. Watson couldn't move the ball, but then towards the later on in the game, the special teams really came out and helped the Browns. They had a punt return, then they created turnovers. So it was just a weird game because I felt like the defense, for the most part, in the first half, they did their part. They did what they were supposed to do. It's just that we couldn't move the ball for shit. We should talk about this every Sunday. The same problems. And the play calls were ass. I mean, we were just handing the ball to Pierce with like no creativity. They had 7 guys in the box, so bro couldn't do anything. And you know, towards the end, that's when Deshaun started moving the ball more on the defense. In the second half. But I'm glad this is over with because now we can actually focus on our team. I felt like we put a lot of energy in this game, Deshaun Watson's return, to try to troll him, talk shit, be disrespectful. When the big elephant in the room is that we suck as an organization. So we need to focus on that. That needs to be our priority, not trying to clown this dude for what happened. I'm not saying I like the dude or I agree with the stuff he did. Of course I don't. But I want my football team to be good, bro. Like, I don't want us to spend on all that energy on that bullshit. Like, we need to come out and try to win these games. And I just feel like the defense looked different than the other games. Like, how come we can't play like this in all the other games that we played? It's like we came out different today as far as the defense. Like somebody said, hey, I don't care what happens, win this game. And I think a big part of that was because Deshaun was coming back, but we need to be locked in like that every game. Like, fuck all that. Like, we need to win and be locked in like this every game. I'm just glad it's over because we can stop talking about him already and focus on what we can control, and that's solid football. So I don't know how long this is gonna take, man. It's a lot of pain to bear, as a fan. But
Yeah, hey,
I'm
the
just
the one
happy.
thing, the one thing is that I want to tell all my Texans fans, Bryce Young is coming. Number 9,
Facts.
Alabama, he's coming.